The year 476 CE often marks the collapse of the Western Roman Empire. In typical history books, we hear about Emperor Romulus Augustulus stepping down or being deposed, and how barbarians then toppled the last vestiges of Roman order in Europe. Yet that date fails to recognize that an Eastern Roman Empire centered in Constantinople continued, sometimes thriving, for another 1,000 years. That branch, which historians call the Byzantine Empire, was very much Roman from its own viewpoint. Same laws, same governance structures, same sense of continuity. So in any real sense, Rome didn't truly vanish in 476. Furthermore, among historians, there's a deeper conversation about whether that date was more symbolic than actual. Empires don't collapse the same day a particular figurehead is removed. Often, they wither gradually, with local governance, trade routes, and culture persisting in some form well beyond the dramatic headlines of a single dethroned ruler. While the fall of Rome conjures images of chaos, the Eastern Roman Empire maintained formidable armies, advanced building projects, and a robust legal framework. Emperors such as Justinian built grand churches, codified Roman law, and worked to reclaim lost provinces. These efforts carried forth Roman identity. Meanwhile, in the Persian Empire, parallel developments took place. Persian rulers clashed with the Eastern Romans for centuries, leading to alliances, betrayals, and negotiations that redefined the borders of the Mediterranean world. What's crucial is that both the Eastern Roman Empire and the Persian Empire housed libraries, schools, and thriving cities. Christian conversions in the East eventually led to tensions with classical pagan learning, culminating in episodes where ancient texts were destroyed or hidden away. Yet, pockets of scholarship remained, especially in places removed from immediate conflict. Our mainstream lessons often skip quickly from the fall of Rome around 476 to the Middle Ages, with minimal mention of how knowledge survived in places that still called themselves Roman. It's as though large parts of West Asia or North Africa simply stopped existing in historical memory once barbarian kingdoms sprang up in Europe. In truth, the Roman East left an imprint on the culture of the entire region, sustaining roads, architecture, art, and administrative systems. This living legacy gave the Islamic conquests a sturdy foundation to build upon, turning an unlikely coalition of desert tribes into a world-shaping empire in a matter of decades. Surprised to learn Rome didn't vanish in 476? That's only the start. If this challenged your assumptions, tap the thumbs up so these insights reach more people. Up next, unexpected safe havens for lost knowledge. Legends speak of the Great Library of Alexandria, a repository so vast that it supposedly contained up to 1 million texts. Later, historians debate the exact number. Some say it was closer to a few 100,000. Others maintain it could have been near 700,000. Regardless of the precise figure, it was a beacon of scholarship. Yet in 391 CE, conflicts tied to religious upheaval led to a purge, with Christian mobs clashing against pagan enclaves. One disastrous outcome involved the library's destruction. The capital of advanced knowledge gone, but gone is never absolute. People who valued those manuscripts scattered. Some took what they could carry into private collections or remote libraries. Over centuries, these relics found new homes in monastic centers, in hidden spaces, and importantly, in the realm of Persian scholars who saw immense value in Greek and Roman thought. Persian rulers, particularly under Shapur Burfan in the 3rd century and later during the reign of Khosrow I, recognized that collecting texts from Byzantium, India, and even further east would empower the empire. The Academy of Gundashapur, situated in what is now southwestern Iran, blossomed into a center of translation, medicine, and philosophy. When Roman refugees fled persecution or war, they found that the Persian Persian Empire, while hostile on the battlefield, had room for scholars. Fascinatingly, Gundashapur wasn't just about Greek or Roman works. Persian emperors employed Nestorian Christian physicians and mathematicians, as well as Jewish scholars, to produce original research and compile a combined worldview. Elements of Indian mathematics and Chinese astronomy also entered these libraries, forming a mosaic of knowledge unprecedented in earlier centuries. As Rome adopted Christianity more fully, culminating in Theodosius I declaring Christianity the empire's official faith, attitudes hardened. Leaders considered pagan works subversive or demonic. Many classical texts were seen as philosophical threats to Christian orthodoxy. Public acceptance of mathematics or astronomy varied over time, depending on whether they seemed to clash with Scripture. This shift resulted in a precarious environment for scholars who prized the old ways. In some cities, Christian bishops or mobs forcibly closed philosophical academies or burned manuscripts, yet not all Christians favored destruction. Some believed in preserving classical learning to understand the natural world God had created. There were quiet movements to save and interpret ancient knowledge. These internal tensions created a push and pull dynamic that oscillated for centuries. During the early 7th century, Muslim armies took on both the Roman, Byzantine and Persian, Sasanian empires. By the mid-700s, they controlled a vast swath of territory spanning from the Indus River to parts of Spain. The initial conquests weren't solely about subjugating populations. Administrative models from Persia and the Byzantine provinces were adopted, letting local bureaucrats keep the wheels turning. Amid this, great libraries like Gundashapur fell into Muslim hands. Instead of destroying them, many caliphs funded translations, expansions, and even original research that merged Greek, Persian, and other influences into Arabic. Who knew precious manuscripts could outlast riots and destruction? The next section uncovers how they spread across continents. Show your support with a quick thumbs up and brace yourself for a surprising chain of events. Individuals such as Hunayn ibn Ishaq, a Nestorian Christian who mastered Greek, Syriac, and Arabic. He spearheaded projects to translate Aristotle, Plato, Galen, and Hippocrates. In many cases, these translators produced versions with commentary, clarifying and expanding upon the original text. Thus, Europe received not just a Greek classic, but an enriched adaptation full of fresh interpretations. This was more than mechanical copying. They often encountered archaic idioms or outdated scientific assumptions. Translators would footnote text or incorporate new insights from Persian or Indian thought. The result was a dynamic body of scholarship that soared above what the Romans or Greeks might have recognized. One might wonder how this material found its way back west. After all, Europe looked suspiciously at the Saracens, or Moors, or Turks, depending on the group encountered. The surprising link: Spain, known as Al-Andalus under Muslim governance for centuries, and Sicily, which also had an extended period of Islamic rule. These territories formed cultural crossroads. Monks on the Christian side eventually realized the texts in Arabic were precisely the classical works their own scholars had once revered, yet with new expansions. Over time, clandestine or semi-official translation projects popped up, particularly around the 10th to 13th centuries. Figures such as Gerard of Cremona and Constantine the African emerged as key intermediaries. Sometimes they worked in Christian monasteries, sometimes in more open schools. They carefully rendered Arabic commentary and texts into Latin. Critics from conservative Christian circles condemned this Islamic infiltration, fearing heresy. Yet the thirst for advanced knowledge overrode such fears, especially when the results were practically beneficial, like better medical treatments or improved architectural methods. It's true that for decades, many Europeans tried to hide their sources. A text might be published without credit to the the Arabic scholar who refined the geometry or advanced the optics. New ideas credited to a Western thinker often turned out to be relabeled scholarship from centuries-old Persian or Arab sources. Over time, this erasure diminished as Renaissance minds openly cited classical Greek authors. Only more specialized scholars realized that many of these Greek works had arrived in thoroughly Arabic garments. This ongoing interplay shapes a central question: can we cleanly separate Western from Islamic tradition when so many pivotal treatises came to medieval Europe through Arabic translations, with commentaries that refined the content?